My dear students, how are you? I think all of you are well during this corona situation. Today I want to discuss about the cerebral palsy, which is very common problem in our daily practice in life. Now, what do you mean by cerebral palsy? It is disorder of movement and posture which is permanent and non-progressive, resulting from injury of immature or developing brain. So, what the problem? It is disorder movement and posture. Remember, it is disorder of the movement and posture which is permanent. That is, disorder of movement and posture is permanent. It is not non-progressive. Why it results? It results from the injury of the immature or developing brain. Immature or developing brain, not mature brain or adult persons. So, it is also called the static encephalopathy. Encephalopathy means brain injury that is non-progressive disorder of posture and movement. So, it is the disorder of the posture and movement which is non-progressive due to injury of immature or developing brain. Now, age of onset, usually it is apparent after 3 months of life. Incidence common 2:1000. Etiology 70% cases unknown, but most important risk factor is antenatal or perinatal 80%, responsible 80% for cerebral palsy, such as TORS infection, maternal disease, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, alcohol abuse of mothers, toxemia of pregnancy, antepartum hemorrhage, maternal malnutrition, iodine and iron deficiency. So, remember this iodine and iron deficiency should be corrected during antenatal period. Natal 10%, perinatal asphyxia, preterm and low birth weight, and birth trauma, IBS and intracranial hemorrhage, abnormal delivery, face and breast presentation. Postnatal causes infections such as meningitis, encephalitis, metabolic hypoglycemia or hypocalcemia, hyperbilirubinemia, that means kernicterus, and head injury. So, what are the preventable risk factors of cerebral palsy? If you look at the slide, there is maternal diabetes mellitus and hypertension, alcohol abuse, it should be corrected. TORS infection should be prevented by maternal vaccination, and maternal malnutrition and iodine and iron deficiency should be usually corrected by proper treatment. Toxemia of pregnancy is prevented by proper antenatal care. And natal risk factors, perinatal birth asphyxia is prevented by the hospital delivery and also the proper antenatal care. Premature baby and low birth weight baby is also prevented by meticulous care, and birth trauma and abnormal delivery also prevented by proper antenatal care. And infection, meningitis and encephalitis, it should be prevented by early diagnosis and treatment. And metabolic causes, hypoglycemia and hypocalcemia is prevented by simple IV glucose or IV calcium. Hyperbilirubinemia is prevented by the phototherapy and exchange transfusion. And head injury, it is prevented by the precaution. So, all of the factors mostly prevented. Now, classification. According to motor disorder, it is also the physiological classification. Cerebral palsy may grouped into 4 groups: spastic, dyskinetic, ataxic and mixed. Among the spastic, which is more common, 65% cases, usually quadriplegic or hemiplegic variety, involve pyramidal system. So, patient develops spasticity. These are again grouped into the monoplegic, that is one limb, either upper or lower limb, diplegic, usually both lower limb may be involved, triplegic 3 limbs, quadriplegic 4 limbs, hemiplegic one side of the body, and dyskinetic variety 20% involve extrapyramidal system. So, patient develops extrapyramidal sign symptom, which is characterized by the athetosis, chorea, dystonic posture, atonia or hypotonia. And another group is ataxic, it involves the cerebellum, and mixed group is most common, spastic plus dyskinetic. So, among the classification, this lesion or sign symptom depends on the site of lesion. It involves the pyramidal system lesion involvement, or involvement of the extramedullary system, or involvement of the cerebellum. According to degree of severity, mild variety, moderate variety, severity and severe. So, in case of mild cerebral palsy, it is 20%, it is ambulatory. Patient can do by himself, and patient takes food and works by himself, and moderate 50% requires self-help, and severe cases 30% totally incapacitated. So, all cerebral palsy not bed, 20% case mild cerebral palsy can live normal life. Early diagnosis of cerebral palsy. How can you suspect the infant suffering from cerebral palsy? By the following features such as feeding problem. Usually in this patient gives the history of difficulty in feeding, excessive salivation, that is drooling, abdominal movement and posture and tone, and lack of auditory and visual response, that is patient cannot respond to surroundings. Convulsion, delayed development of milestone, that is patient cannot sit, cannot walk, cannot stand. Persistence of primary reflexes beyond 6 months of age. You know, there are 5 to 6 primary reflexes: sucking reflex, rooting reflex, Moro reflex, and palmar and plantar grafts. Usually these reflexes appears 4 to 5 months of age. If this reflex more than 6 months of age, you suspect patient suffers from neurological deficit. Constant feasting beyond 2 months of age. Usually infants are feast their hands up to 2 months of age. If it persists after 2 months of age, you suspect neurological injury, rubbing of the eye and persistent squint. So, these are the early diagnosis signs symptom of cerebral palsy. Diagnosis of cerebral palsy from history, from examinations and from investigations. From history, usually onset after the 3 months of age, diagnosis can be done by the after 3 months of age, and presented symptoms: delay in achieving motor activities such as neck control, sitting, standing, abdominal movement and posture, lack of auditory and visual response, that is patient cannot react to the surroundings, no reaction to surroundings, hyperactivity, intellectual inability, and some patients may present with convulsion, excessive drooling, that is excessive salivation. Patient may present with feeding problems such as sucking, swallowing, and problem in daily activity such as bathing, clothing, dressing, he cannot do himself. And of course, patient develop failure to thrive, that is not able to gain weight and height. If you take the history of risk factors, you should ask the mother from birth history, antenatal, natal and postnatal risk factors, mainly TORS infection, prematurity, prenatal asphyxia, birth trauma and meningitis. These are the most important risk factors to injury the immature or developing brain and give rise to cerebral palsy. If you take the development history, there is history of delayed development milestone, that is neck control, sitting, standing, walking, all are delayed, sometimes not able to do. Family history should be taken. In that case, there is positive history of family history of cerebral palsy in another shifts. Also, you should take the consanguinity of between the parents, because consanguinity of the parents increase risks of the autosomal recessive disorder such as involuntary metabolism, metabolic disorder give rise to cerebral neural injury, give rise to cerebral palsy. And if you take the history of treatment or management history, patient may give the history of use of spleen, wheelchair, physiotherapy, speech therapy. If this history given by the parents, you suspect patient developed neurological injury, so for this patient uses these devices and it increase the suspicion of cerebral palsy. Now physical examination, if you do the general examination, if you look at the patient, that patient is dull looking, vacant, not look at you. Mental status non-cooperative, he cannot cooperate with you. Restlessness, not respond to surroundings. Movement, involuntary movement, posture, dystonic posture and excessive salivation. Fisting of the hand, dysarthria, cannot speak and it is problem during speech. Eye, you should examine the eye, cataract, squint, nystagmus. If you see the cataract, you suspect there is TORS infection. Low set air, it is due to the syndromic, if patient is syndromic baby. If you do the anthropometry, you get the failure to thrive microcephaly. So in case of cerebral palsy, there is microcephaly because growth of the brain is impaired. If you do a systemic examination, among the neurological examination, it depends on the pyramidal, extramedullary or cerebellar involvement. So signs symptoms of neurological examination depends on site of lesion, whether it is pyramidal or extrapyramidal or cerebellar involvement. Muscle bulk reduce, muscle wasting, and tone is spastic or hypotonic. If pyramidal tract involved, spastic. Is cerebellum involved, hypotonic. Muscle power diminished or increased reflexes. If cerebellar, it diminishes the power, muscle power, and if increase the muscle power due to the pyramidal tract involvement. If you do the reflexes, this is primitive reflexes. If the patients more than 6 months, if you examine the primitive reflexes, you see the persistence of primitive reflexes, such as atonic neck reflexes, Graf's reflexes, ventral suspension, all reflexes, even Moro reflex, even sucking, swallowing, rooting and palmar and plantar gaps may be present after 6 months of age. And if you do the deep tendon reflexes, they reduce or exacerbated if pyramidal tract involvement, plantar aspin extensor, pronus may be present, and there means cos adductor reflex may be present. Now respiratory tract examination, auscultation for infection and severe examination, auscultation for cardiac defect, abdomen palpation for constipation, hip joint examination for dislocation. It is association with cerebral palsy, because in cerebral palsy patient develop recurrent infection. Respiratory infection gives rise to pneumonia, and sometimes some congenital heart disease associated with the syndromic baby or chromosomal disorders. And cerebral palsy patient develops chronic constipation, and if you do the hip joint examination, you may get the dislocation. You must do the neurodevelopmental assessment, and by the following way, from inspection you get the posture, dystonic posture, involuntary movement may be present, response to surroundings no response, and test of vision does not follow the object. This test of vision done by the fix and follow of bright object. And hearing test should be done by the distraction test. Hearing is impaired, and if you do the fine motor test, primary gaps absent. Gross motor examination, if you do the neck control, sitting, these are impaired. And language not age appropriate, that is, if patient's age 2 years or 4 years, his language is coarse, bubbling, that is usually is present in 5 to 6 months of age. And before examination of the language, you need permission from the examiner and ask the mother to know the child language. Investigation, cerebral palsy is clinically diagnosed, investigation not necessary. Following investigations may be done to see the site of lesion or etiology: MRI, CT scan of the brain, the main malformation, calcification usually found in the TORS infection. TORS screening, urinary metabolic screen to find out degenerative disorders, chromosomal study, and EEG to find out the etiology. What are the DD of cerebral palsy? Developmental delay, neurodegenerative disorder, that is metachromic leukodystrophy, neurometabolic disorders, organic aciduria. Now management. Goals of management of cerebral palsy, the long-term goal, that is gaining independence in activities of daily living, school or work and school life. And short-term goals of treatment: improve mobility, prevent deformity, educate the parents, teach daily living skills, provide community and social support. Now management, it is multidisciplinary team approach, that is all of the discipline or the medicine or surgery or orthopedics may be needed to treat the patients. This is the patients, so it needs physicians, patient needs psychologist, social worker, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, speech language therapist, and of course orthopedician. Now counseling, you should counsel the patients about the disease and prognosis, and early stimulation should be done: visual, auditory, tactile, speech and emotion. If you not stimulate the patient early, patient may not be able to see any object or hear. Symptomatic, if conversion, anticonvulsant, usually remember CP means carbamazepine and P means phenytoin, but you should not prescribe phenobarbital because phenobarbital reduce the cognitive power of the patients. In case of CP, usually there is cognitive deficit. If you prescribe the phenobarbital, it also reduce the cognitive deficit. So cognitive power of the patient is exaggerated. Deficit is exaggerated. So phenobarbital should not be prescribed. Behavioral problems, if patient develops behavioral problem, in that case you may prescribe phenothiazine, haloperidol and buspirone. Now if patient develop extramedullary symptoms, you may prescribe the trihexyphenidyl hydrochloride or levodopa. If patient develop hyperactivity, you should prescribe the methylphenidate. If patient excessive salivation or sialuria, you may prescribe the atropine or benzotropine or buttocks. Now, if patient develops spasticity, you should prescribe some drugs such as dantrolene, sodium, biclofen, benzodiazepam, injection botulinum toxin, and physiotherapy by the massage, exercise, hydrotherapy. Sometimes surgery may be needed after gait maturation at 6 to 10 years, such as selective dorsal rhizotomy, and orthopedic surgery may be needed such as tenotomy, tendon lengthening or transfer in case of severe spasticity, and use of splint, braces, orthosis. And you should refer the patient for speech therapy, educational therapy, and also patient need the occupational therapy such as feeding, bathing, dressing, and toilet training, and social therapy, social and emotional support, and patient need rehabilitation and vocational guidance. Now, prognosis. Developmental delay improves over time. Developmental delay improves over time. Problems, usually neurological sequelae persist such as mental retardation, microcephaly, convulsions, epilepsy, extrapyramidal abnormality, sensory impairment, behavioral problem, cortical atrophy, and sleep problem. There is also the speech, hearing, and vision problem, and if you examine the eye, some patients may develop squint, refractory error, cortical blindness, and some patients may develop dental and feeding problems. Now, how can you prevent the cerebral palsy? Better obstetrics and perinatal and neonatal care, prevention of maternal infection and birth injury and prematurity, prevention and treatment of hyperbilirubinemia, and rubella vaccine of all child-bearing women. So, dear students, this about the CP, this is the dystonic posture. You see, there is no normal posture, it is dystonic posture. If you get this posture, you suspect person suffering from cerebral palsy. These are the some sign, though it is not clearly visible in the pictures, some sign: abnormal movement patterns caused by the problems in muscle tone. The muscles is hypertonic or hypotonic. Patient develops this seizuring of the limbs and waddling gait, and also some of the knock knee, and dragging the limb during curling. And if you want to sit the patient cannot able to sit, and patients walks with support. Now, these are the some signs such as head twist to one side, this arm may steep straight out, legs steeped and knees pressed together, this arm steeps bend. This is the dystonic posture. Sometimes patient keeps this patient may in this posture, shoulders and head pressed back, and finger grips thumb and legs turn in. This is obstinate like posture. This is a typical attitude arm. Typical attitude arm and hand movements may be as a regular shake or a sudden spasm. Uncontrolled movements are often worse when the child is excited or tries to do something. So, this is the typical attitude arm. This is the poor balance. Arm and hand movement, involuntary movement. This child has severe athetosis. To keep her balance, the child with ataxic works bend forward. This exercise bend forwards with feet wide apart. This is the waddling gait. So, bends forward and feet apart. She takes irregular steps like a sailor on a rough sea or someone who is drunken gait. Test for ataxia. hold a finger or a toy in front of the child and ask him to touch it on the first try. The child with ataxia cannot do it. Now, this is spastic diplegia, contracture of the hip joint and knee joints and feet. Sometimes patient may present talipes equiniferus. This is spastic diplegia, both lower limb are affected. This is spastic quadriplegia, 4 limbs are affected. The fisting of the hands, and there is scissoring of the limbs, scissoring of the lower limbs due to spasticity. Spastic hemiplegia, one side of the body is affected, hemiplegia on the right side, and contracture of the hip, knee and foot. There is fisting of the hands. So if you do the CT or MRI, you get the cerebral malformation, cerebral degenesis, one of the cause of the cerebral palsy. If you do the CT scan or MRI in case of parental asphyxia, you may get the cortical atrophy, you may get the leukomalacia. So don't think all cerebral palsy are poor prognosis. So if patients suffering from mild variety of cerebral palsy, in that case they maintain their normal life, such as the actress Abbie Nicole Curran, born in 1987. She was present in the Miss USA in 2008, and in Las Vegas, Abbie was born with cerebral palsy. She has made a number of appearances on shows such as Inside Edition, Access, Hollywood, The Alien, The Generous Show, CNN Headline News, etc. She now has her own event called the Miss You Can Do It for young girls and women with special needs and challenges. She wishes to teach young ladies that they too can compete in a pageant even with a disability. Dear students, now I want to show a video for early diagnosis of cerebral palsy, and this video shows side by side, one is the normal baby, development of normal baby, and another is the abnormal development side to side. And you will look at this video that it shows the patient's head in midline and his symmetry of the head, eyes, arms and legs, but in this video it is abnormal. Now, if you give a toy to the patients for visual test, this video shows patient reaches against a gravity and explodes the toys with both hands, but here the baby is unable to do this. This is called a distraction test. Now, this video lifts hand and upper trunk of the surface in pronation for independent ruling, but next video patient is unable to do this. In this video uses upper arm and dissociated lower extremities to assist the facilitated. This is a head lifting, normal head lifting, but in this video patient cannot lift his head. He is bringing shoulders and upper arms forward with elbows in front of the shoulders is normal development, but another video shows is abnormal development. This is maintains head in midline, no head lag, good chin trunk. It is normal, but another video shows head lagging, head cannot control. Now Bishan, this is distraction test, able to visual fixate and begins to tag to toy in a normal side, but it is abnormal in the cerebral palsy. Patient unable to sit in cerebral palsy, but patient is able to sit in cerebral palsy. Now, it keeps the neck and trunk extended with head upright 45 degrees steady in midline in case of normal development, but it is very impossible in case of cerebral palsy. Upper arms to sustain trunk extension cannot bring them fully forward. Now extension, good extension through the neck, trunk and helps during forward movement, but in cerebral palsy it is unable to do. Now posture, head in the midline, able to move freely and hips just behind the shoulders and ankles in plantar flexion, but it is absent in the cerebral palsy. Now activity in the lower extremity, active extension into the lower thoracic and lumbar spine, no full extension in case normal baby, but it is abnormal in cerebral palsy. So dear students, thanks for patient hearing. I think you will be able to understand about the cerebral palsy, which will be very important for your daily practice in life.